So here's the skirt, and the last thing we're going to do now is to put on our very bottom, I don't know what I did there, sorry, I shouldn't have done that, very bottom frill. So we're going to go all the way round, we're going to measure it so that it's going all the way around, and we're going to pin it onto the skirt bottom, and then once we've got it all the way around and we've stretched it out so it actually fits the bottom, then we will go to the sewing machine and do that. So I'm just going to start by stretching this out so that it's actually going to fit, because I think I've pulled it too tight. So right. Okay, so I've got my ruffles the right length now. I'm just going to go around now, and I'm going to start here on this piece, and I'm going to pop my ruffle, and make sure you've got it the right way round. So this is the back of my ruffle, and this is the front of my ruffle here. And I'm just going to check that end there where it joins there, and I'm going to pop that one onto there, and I'm just going to tuck it so that that piece there goes on top of it, and I want to cover up that end piece, and I want to put it so that the top of my the bottom of this bottom row of stitching here, I want it to sit on there. And is that going to come down, or is that going to hang? I'm going to get this right. I need to put that on like that, so that comes down like that. That's better. I'm going to get that covered over there. That's it. And I'm putting that bottom row of stitches onto the bottom of my hem. That's it. So it's just going on like that, and that's sort of coming up with that. That's not joined right. Let's put that there. Join those two pieces so that those two joins are sitting together like that, and then I'm going to pull that up a bit, and then we're just going to come all the way around. Now, if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to pin it, you can just put it on and let it just sit on there and just sew it yourself. But I'm going to pin mine because I want to make sure that all my gathers are even as I go around. So I'm just going to spend some time placing it on, sorting my gathers, and then just going like that all the way around until I've got a nice hem, so it's sat nicely on that hem. I don't want my gathers too tight in any one place, so just move them around so that you've got a nice sort of like gather. Your gather should be even more. This is going to be a bit boring, I'm afraid. It's just going to be pinning, and it's going to take a few minutes to get around there. But if we do it together, then we should end up something quite nice together. Right, so I'm going to go grab some more pins from over there. I love my little magnetic pin cushion. The only thing you've got to watch out for is things getting stuck to the bottom of it. So I've lost the key to the sewing machine, the one which looks like a key, but it's like a little screwdriver. That's been stuck to the bottom of it before. My little yellow scissors, gold scissors, they like, I don't know if they're a swan or a stork, I think it's a stork scissors. They've been stuck to the bottom of it before, and I haven't been able to find those. Anything metal will stick to the bottom of it basically. So you sort of think, where has that gone? And then, oh yeah, it's probably look underneath there at first if you're looking for anything metal. I do love it. It's ideal. It picks up pins off the floor. You can just go over the top and grab a handful of them. There we go. Probably that is one of the things which I would use probably every day in the sewing room. Quick unpick. The little dish, the little pin dish. I've got some nice long glass-headed pins. I like those. They're really good for because you can iron over them and they don't melt. What else do I like to use all the time? My nice scissors. You need a decent pair of scissors. You need to have a lot of decent scissors. I use my cutting board, my ruler. You only need one ruler. If I was going to get a ruler, I'd just say go for a nice long ruler if you're going to get like a quilting ruler. The only thing is you can get them metric, but most of them are in imperial. Most of the quilting stuff is done in imperial, so that's why I do a lot of mine, my patterns and that sort of thing. I do it in it because that's how most of the rulers and that come in. And you are getting more of them now, but you can. But most of them are imperial. So let's put that gather in there. What else do I like to use? My rotary cutter. I use that a lot. I use that for cutting anything straight on this mat here. This mat I got from Amazon. I'm not sure whether it is as good as I thought it was at first. It's metric on one side and imperial on the other. But the other day I noticed, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little hole in it, which it should never have because it's supposed to be a self-healing mat. So I'm not quite sure why that is. So I might contact the company and say, like, you know what's going on, it's got a hole in it. Because they should never. I've got mats over there. I've got A3 mats over there, two A3 mats over there, and I've had them for years. I've never had a hole in them ever. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So I probably will contact the company and just let them know that mine has a hole in it. But I do use the cutting mat a lot. My iron, obviously. You need a reasonable iron. A steam iron is good, although I don't usually put a lot of steam into my stuff. I would just use the steam at the end. I don't put it in, the steam in when I'm doing things like putting on interfacing and that sort of stuff. I don't, I don't use that at all. What other things do I use? This thing, Isacord Thread. I really like Isacord Thread. This isn't an Isacord Thread, and this has snapped a couple of times, but it's been okay. This is a cotton, 100% cotton thread. It was the only one which I could get which would match the colour exactly. So that's why I went for that one. I just struggled getting the actual yellow colour. So what you want to make sure when you're doing this is don't get a twist in it at all. Alright. And you might see the lovely chocolate stain I put on it, because I was eating a bar of chocolate. How wicked. And I thought I'd wipe my hands off with a wipe, because I was seeing to the baby, we both sat eating chocolate, and the next thing I looked down, and whether it was me or whether it was the baby, we've got chocolate on the dress. So you'll see that as we come round in a minute. So I'm probably just going to wash just that one small section of it, just to get that piece of chocolate stain out of it. There's a couple of stains, just tiny one and a big one. So, and again here I'm just going to tuck that in under like that, and then I'm going to go over the top of it. Alright, because that's held in that French seam, and that should come down afterwards okay. Moved back too far out the way, so I've just tucked that one sort of like so it's straight, and tucked it in under there, and then that should then come back and sit down onto that piece there. Sorry if I went out of shot there. It's really hard to remember to keep it sort of in shot. Right, let's pull this right back down that way. Gather, so that's going in there. Gather, gather, gather. That piece. And the top piece up a bit. That's it. There we go. That's those two pieces. So there, so that's that bit there. I need to pull this one right in on this side. So, go that right in. That's it. There we go. Just put that in there. Put that in there. So, and that is hard where those ends are. It's quite hard to get that to it because it won't lay. So you're just going to have it like that. You won't notice it. You really don't notice it when you're doing it. Loosen that up a little bit and just keep going. What other things do I like for having for when I'm using on a regular basis? I use a lot of that greaseproof paper from pattern making. I use that. That's one of my sort of staples, which I always have enough in. If I'm sort of like getting down to 2 rows from the end or something like that, I will go in and use get a couple more, so I've always got plenty of those in. Printing paper for the printer and ink for the printer, obviously, because I need to keep, when I'm doing the patterns, I print a couple off and play around with those. That can be quite expensive, so that's why I print the one off. I would print one off, and then once I know that I've got my skirt is right, I won't print that skirt again. So there's a piece of chocolate which I got on. Oh, that's what's come off. So that's not too bad, that piece. So that one's, but the other one is quite big. So I don't need to worry about that. That's come off. That's just left a tiny mark. I cannot believe that we've managed to do that between us. It was on the side, and I just wiped my hand because I thought, oh, before I pick that up and put that away, I'll just wipe my hands off. And then when I looked, I must have still had chocolate on me. So it teaches me to be wicked eating chocolate, doesn't it? It was because the baby had some chocolate, and I thought, ooh, chocolate. Right, so it's still going. Should be getting there. So I joined all mine together so it's in a circle, but you could leave yours and not join it together until the very end, and then that would give you, you wouldn't have to make sure it was sort of so gathered up, because you could just stop when you finish and then do that last join at the very end. I think just about coming around to it, yeah. Too much that side. So much this side. Okay, keep going. So if you're brave and you just want to try and stitch it on, go ahead and just do that. And then if you leave yourself a longer piece which hasn't got too much with the gathers more in it, then that would work as well. Let's get to there and then I'll gather those bits in a bit. Looks like I broke a thread there at some point whilst I was gathering it. Just gather the top one in if I can. So that's better. Surprised what you can do when you set your mind to it. I never thought that I would be able to, you know, have a YouTube channel and do that, and never thought I would be able to be a teacher or, you know, those sorts of things. So, you know, I didn't go to I just went to a secondary modern school. And it wasn't until I was much older that I was studying for a degree, and I was like always sort of told that can't do anything, can't, you know, you won't do anything. You won't do anything with your life because, you know, you don't get much brains in that. And then I sort of thought, well, actually, it's funny that, because when I went into, and I was studying, doing childcare and that, when I was in my 40s, the lecturer said to me, she said, why are you doing this? She said, you should be, you know, doing a degree in that. You shouldn't be doing this. I was like, what? Sort of like, don't be silly, like, you know. And she said, yeah, she said, you know, she said, you've got loads of potential. She said, why are you just doing this basic sort of stuff? And I was sort of like, well, surely not, you know. You'd always been told it was thick as two short planks, basically. And then I went on and got some studying, and they found out that I was dyslexic. I had severe dyslexia, but it didn't stop me. I went on and did stuff and carried on with my education at 40. You know, so there definitely is, that was like 20 years ago, so there definitely is potential for everybody. You know, so just because you didn't do very well at school doesn't mean to say that you can't sort of carry on and do something else in later life, which is what I sort of did for a long time. And got to the point like that, and then unfortunately I had an illness and I had to give up work, and oh, I missed the children so much. I was, you know, I really devoted to the job. It was one of those, it was definitely a vocation and not a job. I absolutely loved it, but my health got in the way, and that was that. But luckily enough now I have grandchildren, so which is really great. And I see them all the time. Luckily we all live really close to each other, so it worked out just really great for me, basically. So if anyone tells you that you can't do something, don't ever believe them, because you get knocked down so many times in life. But there's always potential, there's always something you can do. You can always sort of do something within your life and move forward. And nobody should be able to tell you you can't do anything, because honestly, you can. And there we go. Right, I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to do a row of stitches up here along where that row of stitches is, and then I'm going to do a long row of stitches along the bottom, and I'm going to go all the way around twice. So we should go to the machine now. So on this piece here, where it is actually hanging over, and that's the piece we left open at the bottom there, just going to tuck that so that that is underneath there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put that piece onto there like that, then run that piece along, then we're going to come over and we're just going to tuck this piece just slightly over and tuck that piece under with it, so it goes like that. Don't worry about stitching this piece up yet, we'll do that in a minute. We're just going to come over and stitch this little piece just here for that. We're just going to catch that in there and stitch it over the top. Otherwise you get a flap and it doesn't look right, so just come back and do that. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for a moment, and we'll come around and we'll go all the way around the ruffle. I'm going to start on the other side, if I can find it. So this one, this is where our split is. So just going to come in. We're not going to do anything about those pieces at the moment. We're just going to come in from here. Okay. I seem to have these pins all sort of caught up somehow. Let's just whip that one out a minute. Put that one right. So that one's the one which is in behind. Okay, we're not touching that for a minute. We're just coming in from here. Just like that. I'm going to go around this one twice, just like we did before on our other two ruffles. Didn't take that pin out to help you stab myself. Oops, sorry. Right, got that on there now. Okay, quite a lot of fabric you're dealing with now, so I'm just going to whiz around it. And I'm going to go all the way back. And then I'll go all the way around. Now I've got this and I've not actually joined it up. If you wanted to, you could do the same and not join it and have two straight ends instead. I've only got one straight end, But you could join your pieces up once the skirt piece is finished if you prefer. I think if I do it again, that's what I will do. Some old pins in here because I ran out of pins. They're a little bit shorter than what I've been using recently. It's covering up that hem. That's it. You want to sit it right on the very edge of that hem. The sort of bottom of my hem, and then this is the top of my hem stitching there, so you're not going to see any of that. I realise I must have gone over that one there as well. Whoops. Another pin to go onto the floor. You can do this with your needle down if you want to. Just because this is going to be the front, you're not going to see it that much because it will be underneath the apron, but you want it reasonably straight if you can get it straight. If I can just get myself a little bit closer, that might be better. Oh, another pin on the floor. I think my floor is just paved with pins. Oops. Right, you see there, I've just moved down a bit. I'm just going to come up a tiny bit and push that in and cover that a little bit tiny bit. That's better. Let's keep it as even as I possibly can. If you find that's happening, just move it, okay? Get rid of the long ones. So I kept an old pack of pins. Because it's handy if you do something like this where it's going to need loads and loads and loads. And pins do disappear over the years on your floor. I don't know how, but they seem to disappear on me a lot. I should imagine every time I clean the floor I'm going to find about 500 pins. I've got a wooden floor in here, so they sort of scoot everywhere all around the room. It's going to take a while just to get around. When you get to the second side, you'll be able to run around much quicker. But this just takes a long time getting the pins out. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to pop them down onto the tabletop, I think, for a minute rather than put them back into the pin cushion. Otherwise it's taken so long. Just gonna push that piece up a bit. That's a bit better. halfway. And as I was gathering this, one of my threads broke. So what I did was I threaded it up with a needle and just did some hand stitch gathering just in that area where the thread had broken, just to make sure that I had a nice even gather on it. And then I came back and pinned it all in, and it seemed to work all right. So rather than pull all the gathering out and go all the way around again, that worked okay. Right, so we're coming up to this piece now where our bit is, and this sort of wants to sit on the top here. So we're going to come on, and we're just going to come on like that, and we'll just do a little back stitch and come forward again. Okay, and I'm leaving my needle up, and I'm going to pull the whole thing up out of the way and then pop that back down again. And we'll go back at the end and we'll join those ends up. So this is the back of the dress now. So this is the bit which you are going to see. Probably not this bit will probably still be under the apron, but probably see this bit down the bottom I should think will be noticeable. You'll see the front bit, but it's just not going to be, it's not going to be the main feature of the front. This is a really pretty little dress, even though we're using it as an underdress, but you could use this as a dress all on its own because it's really cute with the ruffles on the back. I can't wait to get the photograph of the finished dress so that you can have a look, and I'm hoping to post several photos. So that you can see them at different angles and that. Still got a way to go yet. Okay. I want that to stay up there. I don't want it folding down at all. I'm sorry about my foot. I've usually got it on a little mat, which I keep. Because I've moved to this table, obviously it's not on the mat. I can't actually, this is not really a table, it's a unit, and I can't actually get my feet underneath it. Oops, come right off there. Let's move that back up now. There you go, that's better.